On India First, we just didn't want to get you the politics of it. We wanted to show you the ground realities. We have the biggest team of reporters on Ground Zero getting you facts. And now let's dive deep into this political tutu-meme between the centre and Maharashtra. Tuhin Sinha, when Maharashtra asks for more vaccines, when Priyanka Chaturvedi, the deputy leader of the Shiv Sena in Rajya Sabha, says we have vaccines for perhaps at the most 72 hours. Why does the centre or the health minister, instead of giving more vaccines, say that Maharashtra is not doing its job effectively, accuse the Maharashtra government of a lackadaisical attitude, sir?
Gaurav, Maharashtra rightly is staring at a very catastrophic situation, as your correspondents have highlighted. And this catastrophic situation is entirely the result of the incompetence, mediocrity and falsehood of the propagated by the Vasuli government. Now, at the same time, they have a fundamental lack of comprehension of issues. For a moment, let us assume that vaccination is immediately open for all. The present surge, the open for all vaccination program will have no impact on the present surge when you can't cut down the TPR of 25%, which is the highest in the world. You know, they have been thoroughly incompetent in bringing down the test positivity rate from 25%. Now, even today, just a few seconds ago, I was gazing through the numbers. UP even today has a test positivity rate of 3.64%. Why? Because they've been conducting 1.6 lakh tests. They have not been able to bring down the test positivity rate. Now, you know, this vaccination program was finalized after details with a whole lot of states. And let me tell you that world over, the core objective of this vaccination program is to bring down, just one second, it's a very important point which I'm explaining, is to bring down the mortality significantly, because more than 80% of the deaths have occurred in the age group of 60 plus. But when you look at the statistics, Maharashtra, second dose is what matters. Less than 41% of health workers and frontline workers have been vaccinated, which means that their immunity, they have not attained immunity yet. What has the Maharashtra government been doing in the last 3 months? Just one last point. You know, let me share this very important trivia with you.
Charan Singh Sapra, respond. Let's take this point by point. Sir, hold on. Sir, you've made a point. Let me get Charan Singh Sapra to respond to it. Let me also get Dr. Srivastav to opine on the medical aspect of it. But Charan Singh Sapra, you may ask for more vaccines, but look at the record that Dr. Harshvardhan has brought out. Only 86% healthcare workers have got their first dose. Only 72% frontline workers have got their first dose. And only 25% senior citizens have got their first dose. So if your first dose hasn't reached the saturation limit, when your second dose hasn't crossed the 50% limit, why ask for more or to seek it be open to all when you haven't been able to meet your targets just here? You are only misleading people, is what the Union Health Minister says, Charan Singh Sapra.
See, Gaurav, the Union Minister just wants to play a blame game. And when the BJP spokesperson is talking about the incompetence of the government, I wish to remind you that it is the ICMR which has declared Maharashtra as the #1 state as far as the vaccination is concerned. We have vaccinated more than 90 lakh people till today, and we are the highest in the country. And this alarm which our health minister has raised, it's not because that we are misusing the vaccines over here. It is because Maharashtra daily requires 4 lakh vaccines to 5 lakh vaccines. We require 40 lakh vaccines per week. And this alarm is not raised only by Maharashtra. It has also been raised by Odisha. It has been raised by Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, even Haryana. Let me tell you very clearly that Honorable Central Minister should also know that in Mumbai, which is the financial capital, there are 3 hospitals which could not vaccinate people today. I'll give you the names of the hospital also. Kohinoor Hospital, Reliance Hospital, Hiranandani Hospital. These hospitals were not having a single vaccine. They could not vaccinate. So this is the fact of the situation. When there is a surge in Maharashtra, we need more vaccines. And the government, the central government, they want to play a blame game. They want to turn Maharashtra into a punching bag, which we are not going to allow.
Dr. Srivastav,
they need vaccination.
Is Maharashtra being used as a punching bag in your appreciation, or is there merit in the health minister saying that the attitude of the government has been lackadaisical. I'm quoting him in as many words. These are the words that the health minister has used. He has gone to the extent of saying it's a Vasuli government where those who should be quarantined, the allegation is money is taken and they are permitted to go, and lives of Maharashtrians are being risked. Dr. Srivastav, weigh in on the point, does Maharashtra require vaccination for all 18 and above at this stage, or saturation vaccination of 45 and above, sir?
So, Gaurav, it's a valid point. I don't know that simply by saying that we need to give vaccination for everybody, it is going to become a reality overnight. This is a process. It requires, multiple permissions at multiple levels, and manufacturing and then distribution. I think that with the efforts that the government has done in the state of Maharashtra, they are very commendable. With the kind of challenges, it's a humongous challenge to get everybody vaccinated, to get the most affected vaccinated, and have it done over the time frame that has been made available. I think the government of Maharashtra has done a terrific job, and that having seen this not just in private hospitals, but also in public hospitals, the challenge is big. It's not something to be trivialized, and the rest of it is going to be a process. I don't think that we should look at simply this being a me versus you kind of a game. It simply should be a matter of trying to step it up to the next level, and then the next level, and the level after that, to get as many people vaccinated at the earliest possible time. I personally, as a clinician, I would like to see that people over the age of 18 or 20 should get vaccinated. Why only 45? And why only the most vulnerable? We should be looking at trying to get this into a program where as many people will get vaccinated as soon as possible. But of course, that is my own personal point of view. Like I've already mentioned.
So you're talking of an ideal world, but given the current situation, given the current availability, hold on, sir. Given the current situation and the current availability, you need to prioritize. So when your stocks are limited, you need to follow a system. Is that system being followed is the question that I'm asking, and is there merit in the health minister saying that if you've only vaccinated 25% of senior citizens, where are the remaining stocks? If you have just vaccinated 73% of frontline workers, have you saturated the stocks already? So those are the points that are being raised. You may talk of an ideal world that vaccinate everyone 18 and above, but is that actually possible in today's day and age in a country like India, Dr. Srivastav?
I don't think that's going to be possible overnight, Gaurav, like I was mentioning. It is certainly possible, but it is going to take its own time, its own due course. But you need to prepare for that. You need to make a plan that will be giving you results over the next as soon as possible. So I must admit that I'm not talking about an ideal world. I'm also talking about people who are most vulnerable. But that again has to be prioritized. If it is your healthcare worker who is your biggest priority, as it should be, then by all means, find out what is the system to isolate and get them to take the vaccine. If it is the most elderly population, because we know now in the most current data out of COVID deaths, the biggest mortality comes out of the elderly and people who are the most obese. They are the ones who are most likely to succumb in COVID.
And that's 25% in Maharashtra. That's 25% in Maharashtra. And then you see a surge in cases. So, let's look at ground realities at this point of time. And Tuhin Sinha, and that's just the first dose. We haven't even talked about the second dose, which is where immunity actually comes in to the system. But Tuhin Sinha, you heard the medical expert, and he's very clearly of the opinion you need to vaccinate more and more. So why ration stocks? Why not give it to as many people who require them? If you have stocks, give it. Is the government at the center playing favorites when it comes to some states versus other states, sir, as is the allegation?
Gaurav, I'm not a medical expert, but I've read up so exhaustively about the disease in the last 1 year that I can share a few medical tips. See, the first smallpox vaccine was invented in the year 1796, When was smallpox finally eradicated from the world? In the year 1980. So by vaccinating everybody, the core objective of this vaccination program is to minimize mortality, number one, and to make the symptoms mild as possible, because that is when the disease moves from the pandemic to the endemic stage. But in Maharashtra, where you have absence of hospital beds, where you don't have sufficient oxygen beds, sufficient, ventilators, how are they planning to bring down the mortality rate when they're not testing enough? Now, when the TPR is consistently high, and mind you, even in February, in the first week of February, when the entire country was registering just 10 to 12,000 cases, even then 70% of the cases were coming from Maharashtra and Kerala. So Maharashtra has never been out of the woods, and that is where they need to get back to the basics, which is contact tracing. You can randomly test anybody at the airport to show you're testing enough numbers, but the contact tracing principles have not been followed in the last 1 year. This is something which I can tell you from first-hand experience.
Fair enough. Charan Singh Sapra, respond, because this again is a point that's been raised by the health minister, that the protocols that need to be followed are not being followed in Maharashtra. He then goes on to say that Maharashtra government is risking lives of people, taking money, vasuli, to ensure that there is no quarantine, to skip quarantine. That's a very grave allegation. So you may ask for more vaccines, but if you don't follow protocol, the number of cases will continue to go up, and it's at close to 60,000 just today, sir, with more than 300 deaths.
See, Gaurav, it is very easy to, pronounce acronyms for BJP, but it's not going to work that way in Maharashtra. Let me tell you, when you are stressing, or the Honorable Minister has stressed on 25% of the senior citizens, Maharashtra government has asked for a permission for the bedridden senior citizens to be vaccinated, and they are willing to go door to door for that. We have also asked for a door-to-door permission for the patients or for the people having disability like autism, like Down syndrome, but the central government has not given that permission for the senior citizens or for the people having such disability. Why they are not giving that permission? Why they only want to indulge in acronyms or jumlas, or maybe spell out things like Vasuli? Why are they not talking when they have included age of 45 to 60? There is a big growth.
Tuhin Sinha, respond before I bring in Dr. Srivastav. Tuhin Sinha, direct allegation that it's down to 25%. The government sought permission, center is not giving it.
First of all, that Vasuli charge is an absolutely valid charge, because that is based on an article published in Midday yesterday, which brought out specific instances of how passengers traveling from abroad have been exported 7.5 crore vaccines. I'm giving you my personal example. I'm giving you my personal example. In February, when I returned to Mumbai from Delhi, there were mandatory everybody had to show mandatory reports at the airport. When I returned from Delhi in Mumbai, in February, I know of many co-passengers who would just show anything without even verifying their names or their dates. They would be let off. So the entire checking at the airports has been a sham, and that is what has contributed significantly to the second wave. Through January and February, if you had some of the most lax and compromised arrangements at the airports, it is but obvious that the passengers traveling from abroad, especially...
You made your point. Charan Singh Sapra.
See, Gaurav, he wants to shift the goalposts, but let me bring to the facts and figures of NDA.
Charan Singh Sapra says...
Can I? NDA government has set a target of 30 crore vaccines by July.
Sure, quickly complete your point, sir.
Please. They themselves have set a target of 30 crore vaccines till July. For that, they need 15 crore of vaccines to be produced. How are they going to get 15 crore vaccines produced per month? So this is not looking possible at this stage. Why are they not allowing the other vaccines? Why are they not banning the exports? Why 7.5 crore vaccines have been exported? Why not India first? Your program is India first. Please appeal to them that first the vaccine which is being manufactured in India should be used for Indians.
When will they start
Dr.
worrying about
Srivastav,
hospital
when the center says only 25% of senior citizens have been vaccinated, and the Maharashtra government says give us permission to go door to door, is there merit in the contention being made by Maharashtra government, or is there merit in the center saying that they keep shifting goalposts, not being able to meet the QRs or the criteria that's been laid down essentially initially, and now they keep shifting the goalposts, sir?
Oh, look, I think there is huge amount of merit in going door to door. We've been talking about this at the Maharashtra Task Force, along with my own interactions with the Honorable Chief Minister. I think that vaccination processes being made available to, housing societies, corporates, going door to door, if it's possible. But look, that also involves a lot of logistics. I hope that before we embark on something like that, we've made our adequate preparations. We are certainly capable of doing it, and we need to be able to move in that direction as soon as possible, because that's going to take a lot of pressure off vaccination centers. So going to housing societies and going door to door and vaccinating the most vulnerable, I think it's a stupendous idea. We should try and embark on it as soon as possible.
So will you be able to ensure quality control? Will you be able to ensure that spurious medicines do not come into the system when it's taken out of just government hospitals or prestigious private hospitals? If you spread it out to, let's say, malls or various centers or community centers, can you ensure that the sanctity of the process and the medicines and the injections are maintained, sir?
Well, you see, when you're embarking on something as complex and diverse as this, you will need to have checks and balances in place. So it can be done, yes. There will always be small lacunae and small pitfalls, but that does not take away the greater good of serving a large part of the community where they could not be inconvenienced any further than what they are already going through. So I think it can be done. Of course, I am not the person to be commenting on this. These are policy decisions made by the state, but it can be done. In one word, to answer your question, Gaurav, yes, it can be done.
Okay. Well, then, if it can be done, it should be done. Of course, Charan Singh Sapra, another point, and if I move away from Maharashtra quickly to Chhattisgarh, a point again being raised by the health minister is vaccine hesitancy actually being encouraged by some ministers and the state not going ahead with Covaxin. Why would the state not go ahead with the Covaxin if it's been approved for emergency use by the Drug Controller of India? Charan Singh Sapra.
No, see, vaccine hesitancy is a very wide subject, and it has been seen in all the states where vaccination has been conducted. As far as particularly Chhattisgarh you are talking, I feel that should not be the case. The ICMR has identified, they have validated both the vaccines, and I don't think so that there should be an issue. Maybe the central minister is again trying to misguide. He's again trying to play a blame game. He wants to shift the goalpost, doesn't want to commit on his own mistakes. This central government has committed a lot of mistakes, whether that is the production, whether that is the export, whether that is the distribution.
Okay.
It has been seen that stepmotherly treatment has been given to the non-BJP ruled states.
Because on the one hand, you're saying, humko aur vaccine chahiye, aur vaccine chahiye, aur vaccine chahiye. On the other hand, you're saying there's vaccine hesitancy and Chhattisgarh refuses to use the Covaxin. So the question that arises is there politics that is being played on this subject? We'll, of course, let our viewers decide what's actually happening on ground zero. It's the center versus state. But as all medical experts say, this is a situation where the country is facing a pandemic and the center and the states need to be on the same page. Tuhin Sinha, Dr. Srivastava and Charan Singh Sapra, for the moment, gentlemen, many thanks for joining me. We'll be tracking the story very closely.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.